What is up, Sneeples? This is our monthly Talishar data that we get to find here on Fabrary. Every month we look at last month's data to kind of see where the heroes are, which heroes have improved, which heroes have gone down, and then we make a little tier list and we talk about that. So this is July's. We're gonna go over July's. Now, usually I have this video out a little bit sooner than the 9th here. Usually I probably would have had it on the 2nd, but I was in vacation. I was on vacation, so did not get that out. But I do have some vacation videos coming, so check those out when they come out. Anyways, let's get on to July. So first, we're going to look at last month. Last month, no hero stuck out as the best, all right? Despite Zen being commonly referred to as the best deck in the format, at the month of June, he was actually not even in the top of A tier. So this is June's, right? No one's in the S and a lot in the A and B. A very wacky looking tier list. Now let's get on to July's tier list. We still don't have anybody in the S tier, and if we look at that, it's just because no one has reached over 55% on the win rate. We do have 54%. Victor, Zen, New, so they're pretty close, but no one has hit that 55% to just really take it away to be the S tier. So still no S tier yet, but we did get a bit of a change up. All right, we have New, Victor, and Zen on front of the A tier. This is your A+ one. That is a little different, right? Victor's staying about where he was, but you know, we saw New and Zen kind of on the back end of A tier, and they have firmly put themselves in front. Now, Dash, Enigma, and Dorinthia, they have kind of stayed in the solid A tier. Enigma actually moved up. She was in B tier last month or in June, but now she's in the A tier. So all three Part the Mistville heroes in the A tier just tells you how powerful that set actually is. That these heroes are having this much of an impact this quick. Usually we see two heroes do very well and one hero takes a little while to get there, but no, Enigma is here along with Zen and New. Now Dash and Dorinthia, they might be a little bit of a surprise, at least to me they are. We don't really see very many results as far as for top 8s with these heroes, but I think just overall they've just been a very solid. I mean, if we go and look at Dorinthia and Dash here, which are conveniently right next to each other, you know, one does good, one does bad into Enigma. Same but opposite for New, and then let's see how they do into Zen, because I think that's another big thing. They seem to be about 50-50 with Zen, a little bit struggling against Victor for both of them, but I think it's just they have just a very good spread, and I think that's why we're seeing them be just so high. It's just because they actually just have just a good spread. There's nothing like they're not playing, you know, where they're assassinating the big guys and that's why they're good. No, they just have an overall decent spread. Now when we look at Kayo and Riptide, it was actually kind of big news for Riptide to be an A tier. These guys actually moved down. They might be getting the B tier. Now we haven't actually seen Kayo do anything recently. There was a battle hardened in Bologna that had 2 Riptides in the top 8. So Riptide being in A tier does actually hold some weight. But Kayo's just, you know, Kayo's just solid. I think it kind of falls in that same line. But let's look at Riptide real quick. I think I always look at Riptide just because he's always a little bit surprising to me. Let's just see why he's in. Enigma, that's a great matchup. New, that's another great matchup. All right, and then Zen, not so good. Victor, very, very bad. So good spread, has a good plays into some of the heroes, but then just other heroes in the A tier, he's just not doing very well too. But that is A tier for us. That is what's going on. We have New, Victor, and Zen as the top A tier heroes. Now let's get into B tier. All right. By the way, this is always A for always in top 8. That's not the case with some of these heroes. So I might need to change this wordplay up a little bit. Anyways, B for be lucky to win the whole thing. I think that's pretty solid for all these. And one that we'll notice is Uzuri. Uzuri just won Pro Tour Amsterdam. And then has even made a top 8 in Melbourne. So Uzuri's actually probably going to start seeing some more love, and it wouldn't surprise me if we see for the month of August Uzuri in the A tier, maybe the low A tier, but I think Uzuri has a chance to get out of this B tier range. So let's actually look at that. Let's see why Uzuri is actually doing very well. Now Uzuri was in B tier in the month of June, but now she's moved up into solid B tier. So let's look at Uzuri's matchups. So we have Zen. It's about a 50-50, not great into Victor, not great into Enigma, and then 50-50 into New, right? So why is Uzuri doing well? Well, I think Uzuri just has a good spread here again, is what we're looking at as a spread. And I think these numbers are actually going to start increasing. I do think Enigma is going to be a struggle, but I do think that there might be more play into Zen, as well into New. And so I do think Uzuri will have these numbers increased, and that is what's going to eventually take her into A tier. That is my prediction, at least. I do think Uzuri is a solid deck. If New can be a solid deck, then there's really no reason for Uzuri not to be a solid deck right now. Prism staying at the top of B tier. Actually kind of went down. Was like in the A- range. Now it's in the B+ range. That kind of adds up. That's what you expect. Azalea is the big drop here. So in June, Azalea was on top of A. She was an A+. Potential to even become into S tier Azalea. Now B tier. So I think what's happened with Azalea is that the meta has caught up with her. The Zen matchup isn't as strong as she would want it to be. Victor is terrible as always. New, not as strong as she would want it to be. Good into Enigma. She can handle herself against Enigma, but yeah, just going to struggle against some of those bigger heroes. And it shows. It shows that she went from A+ to B+. She lost a whole grade with it. So Azalea is still a solid option by all means, but isn't anywhere close to BDIF, best deck in format. Kasai is holding solid at B tier, pretty much the same spot where she was before. Dash, she has dropped actually a little bit, but she's still in range. Kano still about where you would expect. Vincent has dropped a little bit, but stayed in the B tier. So good on Vincent. I can't imagine it's hard or it's easy to be a Vincent main right now. It's hard to be any sort of Runeblade main right now. But that's probably going to change here with Rosetta coming out. Yeah, so yeah, just you can see it's not a lot of green boxes here. And yeah, it's just kind of struggling here, especially against the big players. So that's why Vincent is lower, but she has a lot of 50-50 matchups. I think that's what's keeping her in the B tier. Levia and Katsu about where they were in the month prior. A lot of people, myself included, thought Levia would actually get a bit of a bump just from the Shadowborn Horror as an expansion slot. Sadly, it just wasn't enough to put Levia in the A tier and keep her there. Instead, she is in the B- tier. So now let's get on to the C tier. This is the Could Spike. If you're very lucky, and we actually have seen one of these heroes win an event, and that is Max. Max won Battlehard Bologna. Yeah, this very well applies to Could Spike. So we have these hero here. I don't think they're changed too much. Arachne has actually upgraded into C tier. It seems like all the assassins are going to get a slight bump just because the prominence of Zen. So that's going to help assassins out. So that's why we're seeing Arachne up into the C tier from the D tier. But everyone else looking pretty solid. Boltyn is actually dropped. Now, in the middle of July is when his new CC Armory kit came out. So some of those new pieces might help him get back into B tier status. We'll have to see for next month. But he's just not having the success. Warriors have kind of been a bit of a drop off. Dorinthia being the best, probably because of the Dawn Blade. And you can kind of races in, but yeah, I don't know. Boltyn should ideally be able to race, but I guess we can actually kind of see why he dropped. Let's actually look at that, because I'm a little confused on it. I don't think Boltyn's the worst, but I understand he's not in a great spot. So we're having problems out racing Zen. Obviously, Victor's going to be a problem. Looks like New is a troublemaker, as well as Enigma. So we're not seeing very many green boxes here. We can beat Prism, but that's really all we're seeing. So you can see why Boltyn just took a huge step out, because like here in June he was B+. Now he's kind of C-. So all right, and then let's get into the last one, which is D for don't play. And I kind of mean that, like, you should play whatever hero you want to play, but if you're trying to win an event, you don't want to be playing these heroes. And that's Betsy. We've seen her. She's pretty solid. She's actually, it's the top of it now. Olympia, we've seen him here, despite him getting some of the new, his new expansion slot. Just can't get himself out of the D. I actually think he could be a C or B, but you would have to prove it, right? People would have to see it before they start relying on him. Tekla he keeps getting new cards, and it's just not enough yet. Now let's get into the big surprise, Rhinar. And it's not too much of a surprise if you really think about it. Rhinar has historically struggled into ninja heavy metas. Back when 5 was ninja to beat, Rhinar had a very, very hard time. So Rhinar in the D tier is, he was in C- before, but it's such a huge drop off to where he was a solid B in the last meta. Now he's in C into D. So let's talk about why he's in D tier, because he is a hero that you wouldn't suspect to be as a don't play hero. Obviously Zen, terrible matchup. New's not looking great either. Weirdly enough, Fi's good. There's only 23 games that have been played with this, so maybe there's just not enough data. Looks like Tekla is good. But yeah, and Bravo has been a classically good matchup. But just a lot of reds, and that's not what you want to see. You don't want to see it that your good matchups are all like C tier heroes. So that's not good. Yeah, it's just looking rough right now for our boy Rhinar, to be honest. But we got a new set coming out, and that might help him get back into at least C, if not D ranking. But yeah, this is with 121,000 games. This is a notable drop off from June, which I think had 163 or 69. Nice. So yeah, this is a bit of a drop off. A little bit less people playing. They might be on vacation like I was. They also might just not be playing games on Talishar, because this was the month of Pro Tour, so they wanted to maybe keep their decks to themselves. Maybe there was a little bit of that. Who knows? Who knows the real reason why there was just less games? But 121 isn't the lowest by any means that we've seen. And we got a new set coming out next month, so we'll be interested to see how August does. But yeah, this is our tier list for July. No one's hitting the S. We'll see if that changes. We'll see if maybe one of these 3 heroes can get up there, and then we'll see if any of these assassins like Uzuri can kind of go up a spot. Maybe even Arachne gets to B. Who knows? But we'll have to wait until August. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you on the next one. Keep on fapping.